President may have taken a bold step today in relaxing the licensing requirements for power producers. But the reality is we are still facing many dark days ahead. Of course, the arrival of winter brought with it additional demands on Eskom's already vulnerable grid. eNCA's Barry Bateman takes a look.
It was 14 years ago that Eskom introduced South Africa to its term for rolling blackouts, load shedding. Despite a reprieve of a few years, the power cuts are back with a vengeance. And this week, the power utility announced stage 4 load shedding, a cut of 4,000 megawatts not seen since 2019. Eskom's inability to meet demand is brought about by its failing, aging infrastructure. And its massive new build projects are still not fully operational, or they're already failing.
So you're looking at 500 billion build program for something that's not been completed, that's not providing the electricity that it's been promising that it would, that's not providing the relief to a grid that's in excess of 40 years old. The existing power stations, that's why they're collapsing at this spectacular rate that they are. And frankly, we don't know when these power stations are ever going to be fully completed.
Added to this is the power utility's dire financial state.
The debt situation is unsustainable, and they can only continue operations by regular equity injections or bailouts by the shareholder. They are not a going concern, and they are technically insolvent because their operations cannot service their costs, including the cost of debt.
To put it into perspective, since 2008, SAA's financial black hole has amounted to 32 billion rand. Last year alone, Eskom made a net loss of about 20 billion rand. So, is there any light at the end of the tunnel? It might come from independent power producers.
The government has announced bid window 5. They should have done that, in my view, 3 years ago, and wouldn't be sitting in this kind of a problem. So government needs to kind of fast track the procurement of new generation capacity.
The public procurement processes are very slow and cumbersome, and there's a lot of bureaucratic hurdles to self-generation. So we're not seeing the new levels of a new generation that is coming on.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has announced NERSA licensing exemptions for new generation projects of up to 100 megawatts. But even if the IPPs come online, this doesn't solve the challenges at Eskom. Professor Samson Mampweli says government should establish an Energy Command Council with experts from universities and the private sector.
Get them together and work out a quick solution to the energy challenge in the country. They've done it with the COVID-19 pandemic. They're managing it very, very well. They can do a similar, they can employ a similar kind of model.
In the meantime, South Africans should wrap up warmly, take out the candles and put fuel in their generators. Or take the costly route and go off the grid. Barry Bateman, Johannesburg.